Hello and welcome. Welcome to the Wild at Heart show. Another episode here on USA Global TV and Radio. Wild at Heart, real, authentic, uncut. The show for men, by men, about men, men's topics. And actually, welcome to the last show this year. Next year, we continue on the 4th of January. So we go on a short Christmas vacation break. Yeah. The topic for this week is quite an interesting one. Again, it's what is a man's natural role in a family? This we're going to discuss. I have different chants from gentlemen in the panel again, from different backgrounds and different countries. By the way, if you missed one of the shows, please go to on our website, bonfiretalks.com. And starting shortly introducing myself, my name is Roland. I am the moderator and host of the show, actually the creator of the shows. The reason for that is I do a lot of men's work because I dedicated, besides my main business, which is coaching, consulting, sparring, training, huge international companies all over the globe since many, many years. Actually, over 2.5 decades already with my team in many languages. Besides that, I'm very engaged with the environment, with Respect Mother Earth. That's why I do also the Earth show here in USA Global TV and Radio together with my colleague MARCIN, and the men's show that you're watching right now. If you want to contact with me, maybe you want to go on my website. It's my name, rolandfriedl.com. For those of you who are listening on a podcast or a radio station, it's ROLANDFRIEDL.com. But let's get started and let's welcome our panelists. Let's start with the first gentleman from the UK. Mr. Big Scott is in the house. Welcome, Big Scott.
Yo, yo, yo. Good evening.
Hi.
And welcome.
Good evening. Hi, Heaven. How you doing?
Yeah, good. Bit cold
busy
here.
For the Christmas. Cold here?
Yeah.
Busy for the Christmas time?
Yeah, getting all the presents. They've all been delivered, so they can have as many postal strikes as they want now. I've got all my presents.
Okay, man. Good to have you back on the show, man.
Thank you, buddy.
Okay, let's welcome our next panelist from the Middle East, Dr. hazem.baraka. Hazem, welcome on the show.
Hi, guys. Miss you. Sorry.
Hi, guys. Good to see you.
Missed you last week. Yeah.
Here's that.
Yeah, you've been watching the game.
Yeah, Morocco and they
France.
lost and they went outside. And yeah.
Okay. Good to have you back on the show, Hazem.
Thank you.
And let's welcome our next man, also from the Middle East, my dear friend Mohamed.Mounir. Mounir is in the house. Hello, Mounir.
Hello, all. How are you? How are
you? Good. I'm fine. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well.
Have you been taking a break? I'm going to have to get a big stick and come over there and sort you out.
I think this is what I truly need. Otherwise, I'm going to be continuing all and like that energize a rabbit. I'm doing like this, all the time.
Okay, Mounir. From tomorrow on, you will get a WhatsApp reminder from us every single day.
We'll go over and grab him.
Okay.
We'll stick him on
Gentlemen. There's one more backstage. Let's welcome our dear brother from Poland, MARCIN is back.
Hi, Roland. Hi, guys.
Good to see you, man.
Nice to see you too.
There's that happy smile.
I just finished. Well, I'm in the middle. My hands are still dirty because I'm doing some plumbing in my house.
Okay. But the house is still standing.
Yeah, it's really hard to demolish the whole house just by changing one pipe. So hopefully,
but if you flood the whole house.
But saying that, last night, right, is a funny story. Do you ever forget when you're doing things? Last night, I came in at about 8:30, started running my bath, and I thought, right, well, I'll sit down for 20 minutes while I run the bath. Long story short, 11:30, I goes to the toilet and I think, why is my whole light on? I goes into the bathroom. I'd left my bath running for 2.5 hours.
Whoa.
I completely forgot. But luckily that whoever invented the overflow pipe, I absolutely love him. But I was like, oh my God. I forgot about it for 2 hours. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
my gosh!
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Oh my god! So nothing happened.
No,
Nothing happened.
but you know when you're walking down the corridor, I'm thinking, oh my god, the floor's going to be flooded, and I was like, oh, somebody's on my side. So
good luck, good luck, good luck. You know, it happened to me once when I was traveling with my wife in South Africa, and we had an amazing suite in an amazing hotel, a 5-star hotel, a huge suite, and we had a jacuzzi in the dormitory, and
fancy.
yeah, a huge one, and we let in the water.
did you have rubber
And
rings on?
Yeah, and in the water, and I thought it's just salt, you know, crystal salt. Put the crystal salt in, and I said, "Hey, this jacuzzi is quite huge. Let's go down to the bar and have a drink, and then we come back." And then when we come back, open the door of the suite. All the spume was coming again, the foam, because it was not a crystal. It was not a crystal salt. It was just a spume, you know. The whole suite was full. Well, we got a new one. Anyway, gentlemen. Anyway, hey, guys, I'm so happy that you made it. Yeah, actually, as I said in the beginning, it's the last show for this year. Then we go on a Christmas break, so everybody spending time with the families, with the loved one. We're going to continue on the 4th of January. And to our audience, when you missed the show, you want to see one of the recordings, please go to our website, bonfiredocs.com. On episodes, you will see all the other over 30 episodes. And of course, also the contact details of this good-looking gentleman. Hey, guys, the topic for today is what's a man's natural role in a family? Who is digging in? Scott, you're smiling.
I'm always like, yeah. Well, I think that line is blurred over the last sort of 10 or 15 years. You know, a man's natural role is if we go by, you know, caveman, cavewoman, is the provider. You know, so we provide. I put a post up the other day, especially with the festive season. I don't really care about Christmas presents and stuff. I find my role is to make sure that my children have got presents and they've got some food on the table, etc., etc. As my role, and I'm not trying to be alpha male about that, but that's the way I was brought up. As you are the provider, and if you go by nature, we are the provider. But different relationships have different things. You know, there's some women are happy to live that role. That, you know, that is the traditional. The man is the provider, and the woman keeps the house. Which is the old school ways, but nowadays it's becoming more of a 50-50 or a 60-30, and there's more men. You know, I think there's a lot more men out there these days that wouldn't mind being a house husband, because I think, you know, there's nothing wrong with looking after the house. It's probably one of the hardest jobs that you don't get any thanks for, you know. But as an alpha male, we tend to leave that for the woman. But myself, I'm an independent person, being ex-military, so I can pretty much do anything that I need to by myself. I don't need a woman to do any of my chores. But as a father to my daughter, then my natural role is to show her what a real gentleman is, what the sort of man that she should be looking for, that she wants to fall in love with. Because they say the daughter, the first person they fall in love with is their dad. So my natural role is to try and show my daughter that there are good men out there and leading by example, you know. So I might have gone a little bit off tangent there, but that, you know, that's the truth of it. My role my natural role as a man is to show my daughter the ways and wherewithals in the world, and show that there are decent men out there.
Becoming a role model, yeah, absolutely. I love that. I absolutely love that. I also see myself, you know, actually, I didn't have a role model. I had a dad, but he was not present.
No, same here. Mine disappeared when my mum died. Yeah. You know, so he's alive, but who knows where.
Yeah, but I guess I got it. It's just an instinct. Maybe it's just an instinct, but I always saw myself as a provider for my family, for my kids. Always. Well,
that's our base primeval instinct that it's hard to detune from. Do you know what I mean? So.
Absolutely. And I cannot understand, to be honest, when I hear from women that her husband or ex is not taking care about the kids and her and stuff. I don't understand it absolutely at all. Because,
well, I wouldn't say they were men. That's boys. Do you know what I mean? That's immature boys. That if there's too many around that have got children, and had children and leave it all to the mother. Their role, basically, they think their role was just to be the sperm donor, you know.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, that leaves a legacy. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, don't understand me. It's not about bringing a hell of money home and not being present. That's not what I mean. But with the possibilities and capabilities you have, and provide them. I also see this. Well, I think
Marcin, if you ask your kids, they wouldn't care how much money you were bringing in. They'd rather spend time with you.
Absolutely.
You know, than working your ass. I'm not saying this to anybody in particular, Mounir, but yeah, money's not always what they're after. Do you know what I mean? That a man's role is to be there, do the silly little things. Do you know what I mean? Do the egg and spoon race and all that sort of things, you know. Try and be involved as much as you can in the early years because they go so bloody fast.
Absolutely. Before I continue with Marcin, I have a short story on that what you said, Big Scott. I got this, you know, I have 3 boys. They're all raised. They're 32, 29, 25. And I got a feedback from all of them because I was always, you know, very humbling, busy building up businesses and blah, blah, blah. I guess they could have everything what they wanted. Yeah, I could do every sports. We could have fancy vacations. But the feedback I got much later was that we want you, not the money, first of all. And I will never forget this. I will never, ever forget this. 4 years ago or 3 years ago, I don't know, my middle son, Simon, he called me because he knew that I was in Vienna for business. So that can we meet? And so we met for coffee and we asked for money. And then I was really very busy. And then he called me again the next day. And I was on the phone and said, yeah, you want money again? I said, no, that. He was, what is it? And he said, I want to meet you. I want to talk to you. I said, okay, I can do it on the way before I go to the airport flying back to Spain. So I met him. And I got the feedback of my life. He said, you know, I wanted to talk to your dad because I don't want to end up like you and granddaddy, meaning like you and your dad. And I still have goosebumps. And you know, first of all, I was really proud of him because I would never had the courage to talk to my father. Like
No. Yeah.
And it gave me a lesson to rethink about my provider role. It's not only the material stuff; it's also emotional stuff. Become an emotionalist.
It's the emotion that's more important to them, but we don't really realize it. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. Because we see ourselves as a loser when we don't provide a nice fancy home, a nice vacation, stuff like that. But
I think we put ourselves under more pressure if we can't provide. Do you know what I mean? So that then we feel inferior because we can't contain that role that we feel is our fundamental thing, is to be the provider. So if you're not working or, you know, income's low or whatever, then you start being guilty. You know, and you know, as you're old, you shouldn't feel guilty. Do you know what I mean? Provide when you can. Like with my daughter, I've over the years, I've had months where I've had no money, and she'd ask me, Daddy, is it a money month or a no money month? And I'd say, well, it's a no money month. So we would do things for free on whatever. And then when I went away and I did a big contract and I came back and I had a pocket full of cash, I was like, right, okay, what do you want to do this time? Do you know what I mean? So she learned that A, you've got to work for it, and B, you can still do things when you've got bugger all. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, happiness doesn't depend on your bank account. Absolutely.
No, but she'll remember things like, and you're like, oh my god, how did you remember that? Do you know what I mean? But it's the little things, and you're just like, things you just think are insignificant, but to them meant the world. You know, so
yeah, absolutely. Finally, Marcin.
How would you? I mean, if for us, maybe in let me start with in the Middle East. It's I'm sorry, I did not hear. I think there is a delay. So it was Marcin. My apologies.
No, Mounir, keep going, and then we come to Marcin.
Right. I'm sorry. I think I do have a delay in the voice. My apologies for that. So it was my questions to you. I mean, this is very okay and very true. We all believe it, but how can we deal with the feelings? Because of course, you know, and especially in the Middle East, you don't end up supporting your family at the age of 18. You take them to the college, and then after the college, you provide them. You have to get them, you know, some sort of accommodation, flat, car, maybe after school education, and supporting their marriages, and it's never stop. So eventually what happens is that we're working all the time, and there is no end for that. And you, as Big Scott was saying, I feel guilty if I'm working all the time, and I feel guilty if I say no, I cannot provide this now, or you have to depend on yourself. So I feel guilty all the way. So better off be working all day and wishing that something will happen. But it's very hard to change this mindset.
Well, I think the difference is
what says your heart? What says your heart, Mounir?
What says my heart? No, I'm a Libra, so I'm trying to balance all the time. But it's the idea is that, am I balancing or not? No, of course not.
No, you're not balancing. Your scales are well off kilter. Do you know what I mean? You're giving, but you're not receiving anything in return. You know, and I think that the difference in the Western world is like, I was never, as a child, I was never given anything for nothing. I had to work my way through it. If I wanted a push bike, my dad would say, well, you get half the money and I'll meet you the other half. So I'd go out and get a paper round. As soon as I got half or a third of the money, just because he'd seen that I was doing it, he would give me a leg up. I would never get anything for free. You know, so listening to what you're saying there, that literally you're the provider till the day you die for your children, and they don't have to seem to do anything until they get married and then take on that mantle for their children, that's a bloody big burden. Do you know what I mean? Where's the time for you? Where is the time for you, my friend?
And even though that my personal case was a little bit different than the rest of my friends and the rest of everyone, is that my dad never said that he will do anything after I graduate. He said, you know, that's it. When you're done with the college, that's it. I have nothing for you. And even when it was the first year in college and I wanted to have more pocket money, he said, no, you need to work for it. And that's why I started working at the age of 18, and I started working. So I got my flat, I got my wedding, I got the debts for that, I got my car, and there was no kind of support since then. But again, I'm not able to convey that to the kids as well, because I feel it was really hard for me. I wish there was some support and some push, but so at the end of the day, I don't even be, I'm not even able to convey what my dad did with me to them. So this is a little bit of a dilemma, to be honest. Now, I don't want to turn it to my case, but as well as I am, there are a lot of people who are always feeling guilty that they are not going to be able to do this, especially in our part of the world.
Yeah.
That's a big burden. It is. That's a big burden.
Yeah. Well, I can relate to it, Mounir. I was always, trying to do my best to give my kids everything that is possible. But when I look back now, I said, shit, it would be better to spend more time with them.
But don't you find that sort of gives them a false sense of reality if whenever they've asked for something, they've got it, and then when they go into the big wide world and realize, oh shit, I've actually got to do something to earn this money. It was like my daughter, she said a comment the other day. She's 15, she's at that age now, she wants some designer clothes and stuff, and I don't mind buying the odd thing for her birthday if it's proportionate, but I give her pocket money every week. And she said to her mum, she says, oh, well, that's my savings. And I was like, no, that's money for you to spend on things that you want to. So if you want to pay £140 for a pair of trainers, then that's entirely up to you. I will buy you practical shoes and stuff for your schooling and what's necessary. But if you want to follow the fashion trend, then I'm not financing that. I'm giving her your pocket money, and she gets decent pocket money, and she gets Christmas money. She's got over £400 in her account. So I've got to teach her that those things come at a price. Because if you think about it, £110, £120 for a pair of trainers, to some people, that's nearly a week's worth. That's a week's wage after takeaway and stuff, So I think you have to teach your children that blood, sweat and tears do make dreams come true. If you expect a handout all the time, then I think life is going to be just as hard, because you don't know how to fend for yourself if there's no well that never seems to dry up.
Absolutely. Absolutely. MARCIN, you're the youngest guy here, and you're planning to have a family. I know you're married happily. So what are your thoughts about how do you see your role? I mean, you're a little bit out of generation than the rest of the guys here, and myself, of course.
Just
So
have cats. Don't have kids. Have cats.
Yeah.
I have one. Yeah, I have one.
Yeah, just keep having more cats.
Don't spill out my wildest dreams. Yeah, if it will be possible, I would have like 50 cats. Yeah, no problem with that. But yeah, it's hard to say anything about the topic after what you, Mounir, said, because it touches me really deeply. My first response to your question, Roland, was that, well, basically the natural role of a man for the family is whatever he really feels in his heart that is natural for him. And that would be a Western response. But yet, after what you, Big Scott, said, and Mounir, I thought, actually, if I would have kids, I would recognize my obligation as to have to just teach them how to be happy, modestly happy human beings. And as we all know, because it is also already proven by science that the true learning is actually possible just by example. So leading by example, as you, Scott, said. So that means logically that if I am to teach anybody how to be a happy human being, I need to be happy first. And what comes to my mind about that is also a beautiful metaphor that I got from Unexpected Gypsy. This is a UK artist, and she said that we are like teacups. There is a cup and there is a saucer, and we should give away to all the people around us, not from the cup but from the saucer. So actually we need to fill in our cups to be so full that it spill out the content to the saucer, and then we have plenty to give away. So I know this rule is very hard to be implemented because as I can hear, we are more on the other side of the force. So we are less likely to be egocentric and more likely to be just, giving away all the things up to the limit when we have nothing left. So for me, it is a very important lesson that, yeah, I love my family, and probably I would do almost everything to save my family and to provide to it and to provide emotionally. And I don't know, I can do plumbing as like today, but I feel kind of an obligation towards my parents, towards my sisters, towards my wife, to be a happy man, because I believe what they want me to be is to be happy. So by fulfilling it, I feel that I'm giving them something, because they do not need to worry so much about me, and I have this excess energy that I can give to them. If I am in a very good shape, then I can provide a lot, and if I'm just wasted, that I can give almost nothing. And I think it applies to money, and it applies to emotions, and it applies to spirituality, you may say. So some kind of a transcendence. So I'm just trying to be responsible and be the best human being that I can possibly be for my loved ones.
Hey, brother, I love this. I love this. You know what you said. I mean, you be happy, and then your beloved ones don't have to worry about you. That's a cool approach. That's a cool approach. I love that. I love that. I love that. Absolutely.
Just give me a keg of Jack Daniels and the never-ending supply of Coke. I'll be fine.
Up until your liver will just, finish.
Yeah.
Before I go to Hassan, I want to ask my friend Mounir. Mounir, what do you think when you listen to what Marcin said? Be happy that your friends are not worrying.
Okay. No, the idea is that it's you know, the strange thing is that you know what is working. You know that this is what they want, and I really cherish that. But it's I don't know what is happening. It's something that is drifting us all the time, and this kind of feeling of that I don't know how to say it in English, but being short on things. I remember, and there was this kind of shift between there was before the divorce and then after the divorce. After the divorce, I started making a focus on my kids, and I wanted to give them exactly the things that they need. So it was always like I'm thinking with them. So when they ask it for something that is okay, so my teenage kid was always wanted a Dior Sauvage as a perfume, and then it was like, come on. I was on a monthly basis getting it, and I remember I was in Heathrow, and I found that like it was like 40 something sterling a bottle, and then I called him from the airport. And I said, "What do you do to earn that? You will never be able to do this when you graduate. So I'm sorry, I'm not gonna get you that. So you have to work on things that if you wish to do it. You can go to Zara or something and you can get a decent perfume for you." And that when it started to do that. But when the days goes by and you get drifted, I get to the old me that I want to provide everything. And I really, like Big Scott was saying, I always teach them to work for it. You work for it. But I'm at school. Yes, you can work with me. You can work yourself. If you get straight A's, I will give you something and so on. But you need to work for those kind of things. You're not gonna get them for free. But again, I mean, after that you get drifted and you think that you're short. You don't really provide, and they need something, and they would be happy to have those things and so on. And then I know the right thing, but I cannot always perform it. That's the pity that I feel.
It's the guilt thing, isn't it?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
So maybe guys, it's funny, and I know it might be when they asked a couple of a year back or something, they asked it for the PlayStation 5. And I was, okay, right. So let me try to do this. And then I ask and I see, okay, I do have some points. I can redeem some points from my telecommunication and then get it to them cheaper and so on. And then suddenly it was no. I mean, the points were not even close to pay for anything related with that. And I was like, sad for the rest of the day. My wife was saying, "What are you doing to yourself? I mean, that's PlayStation, for God's sake."
Yeah, why beat yourself up? And that's a triviality, really. Do you know what I mean? That, it's a fad thing. PlayStations. I've got one. I bought one for 50 quid for my daughter during the pandemic. She played on it for about a week and then hasn't used it. But every time I say I'm going to sell it, she's like, "Oh no, because I like it. I played on it." I went, "When was the last time you played on it?" 2 years ago. Yeah, it's just,
yes.
And they get attached to superficial things.
Absolutely. I mean, yes, they use it all the time, but it's the idea is that I'm sad because I'm sad because I cannot provide them a decent school year, or I pay for their tuition. I'm sad for the PlayStation. This is totally wrong. So this is the idea. I know it. It's not really an important. It's not an essential in life. But why can't I, remove the feeling of the guilt and that I'm not really able to do that. I don't know who put this into our heart and mind all the time, that if I'm not working, then I'm and the idea is that maybe Hazem, because he's living with me a lot of the time, he feels that if I'm not working, I feel guilty. If I'm sleeping, come on guys, if I'm sleeping, I feel guilty that I slept all the day.
Well, all I would say is pat yourself on the back for all the necessary things that you're doing for the children, like putting a roof over their head, paying for their education and their clothing, but don't beat yourself up when it is just buying a fashion item. That's something, like I would say to my daughter, even if I had that money, I'll give you a prime example. She loves an artist called Billie Eilish, right? And she went, Dad, she's coming to England. And I said, yeah, well, I'll have a look at the price of the tickets. And it was £260 fucking for one ticket. And I went, lovely, I've got the money, but I am not paying for that. Give me anybody else, I'll quite happily pay for it. And then just before her birthday at Christmas, there's another band called Suicide Boys. They're coming over. She went, oh, Dad, I've got to get the tickets. And they were £40 each. So I said, yeah, I don't mind that. Do you know what I mean? But she understood. And it's that when they're at that age, they don't understand that why they can't have it, because they don't realize the amount of money that is going behind it. Because if you don't show them how much that money has taken to get that bloody PlayStation, they will never understand it. So praise yourself for doing the good shit by providing for them, as you should do as a father, but don't beat yourself up for the luxuries. If they want the luxuries, meet them halfway.
Yeah,
that's what I would say. Yeah. Hopefully that'll take away a bit of your guilt, because then you're actually helping them to achieve something at the same time. And once they've achieved it, as you said, if they get straight A's, you'll give them a reward. They get to half, you reward them by matching half, and don't feel guilty about it.
Yeah. Before I go to Hazem, I have a story for you guys. I mean, I was always a very successful businessman in the past, and never, to be honest, never had that much time for my kids. When I was at home, I was not present, I was tired and stuff like that. But I always brought presents. For every business trip, I always brought presents because I felt guilty, of course, that I wasn't present. So I remember I was at home, and I went down to bring the rubbish to the rubbish bin. And I came back home, and my little boys asking for a gift, a present. And I said, oh, what's going wrong? Because Daddy went out of the door, came back, but no presents, because they were so used to it. And then I said that, oh, something is going wrong. And what I did is, there have been 5, 9, and 12. 5, 9, and 12, yes. What I did is, I flew to Greece in a nice hotel. A friend of mine owns a hotel, left the luggage. Then we went on a boat to an island, went to another island. And then we went with a small fisherman, with a small fisher boat, on an island where nobody lives. And we spent that 10 days without nothing. No tent, no apartment. We brought a little water, a little food. We have been fishing, we have been harpooning. And it was such a lesson for them, such a lesson. I remember the first morning, my eldest son, get up, and there was a little storm, and his designer T-shirt, I don't know how many bucks it costed, blown away. I said, okay, you have to take care about it. It's gone. And then I said, yeah, where's breakfast? And I said, do you see any waiter? We're not collecting wood. We try to make fire. And then we cook a little bit, and then we clean everything up, and then we go for harpooning. Maybe we have some lunch and dinner. 10 days. It was a lesson for them. When we came back to this beautiful hotel, there was nothing there demanding. No ice cream, no Coca-Cola. They just have been happy to be back in the real world. And this continued the rest of their lives. So sometimes we have to give them a lesson. We have to give them a lesson. That's what they need. They need a lesson. They don't need luxury products. They need a lesson. That's what they need to learn. But let's continue with Hazem. Hazem, what do you see your role?
Yes, I have actually a very big question. I will try to answer myself, and then you guys can help me. This is spoiling your kids is a result of guilt. You being guilty, you're not spending more time with your kids, you're not giving them enough emotions and love, guidance, and so on and so forth, because sometimes this comes into my head I didn't give my daughters actually when they were little kids enough time. I was just traveling all around the world, Europe. And then when I'm coming back after a couple of weeks, I go and try to make as much shopping and gifts for them. I thought that this will substitute the weeks and the months that I didn't see them or give them or seeing them growing in front of my eyes. I think guilt make you spoil your kids. This is what I feel. Of course, spoiling kids is something relative from a person to another and from culture to another, because you guys you have a very good and clear picture of how to raise your kids. And I'm what I heard is fascinating for me. Actually, we try in the Middle East to do this, but we will actually. It's not up to this level. Let's be honest. Whatever kind of education, but in such a culture or a society here in the Middle East, you're for example in a school, your kids want an iPhone because all of their friends they have an iPhone, for example. So what you're gonna do? You're gonna support and get an iPhone for your kids, or you say no, I will not do this because you're just a kid or a child. When you have money, you get it for yourself or get a small phone. Another thing for me, being part of a family of for example, my father and my mother and my sister and my brother. Yes, I have a role in their family as well. I have a role when anybody is in trouble. Yes, I'm the first one that they come to, and I support. I'm not speaking about money, but about being in issues, in important issues, in troubles with them, supporting and giving more than taking. Yes, it's a matter of a way of thinking. Are you a giver, or you're playing it in a silent mode, as they say? Let's see how it goes, and so on and so forth. I want to hear an answer about this guilt and the spoil thing from you, Roland.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you, Hassan. Before I answer you this, we got a comment from somebody who's listening to us. Berta, charity shops are brilliant for many essentials. Thanks for your comment.
I can help you with pronunciation of the name because I believe it's this is the Polish one. So Mrs. Beata Rzeźniczek.
Rzeźniczek. Hello, Berta. Hello. Great to. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Well, I guess what Hassan said and Mounir said, I guess, but I can relate to this. As I said before, I was always working, not really present because the provider. Maybe the reason for this because my dad didn't give me anything, and I didn't ask for it because I always wanted to do my own stuff. And I guess it mentioned one of my shows when I went to university. He transferred me money every month. So I always transferred it back. I didn't take his money because I wanted to be independent. But of course, I want to do it differently, and I was buying my kids a lot of stuff. But it's feeling guilty. It's a compensation. Yeah, you compensate something that you don't give, and what they need, and actually what they really need, and that's what I found out is. And when I think back about myself as a child, my father didn't give me much. Did I miss it? No, not at all. What I only missed it. What I really miss is that he was a father, having time for me, that I learned that we have a conversation from man to man, that he shows me how to raise up, to grow up, how to become a man, and that he's there when I'm in my puberty and my hormones get crazy and the girls make me crazy. That's what I miss. It's not that I miss any gifts or whatever, fancy stuff. What I miss is just being there as a male role model. That's what I miss. I don't miss any presents or gifts. Absolutely. And to be honest, I got some for birthday and for Christmas, but I don't remember them. I don't remember them. But I remember a few moments when my dad was there. A few moments. Really a few moments. But this is what I remember. Absolutely. But I think it goes more in a deeper level about where its skill comes from. It can come from an early years, from an experience.
Well,
but it can also come from ancestors, from another lineage, from ancestors. So
I think we put more guilt on ourselves than anybody else does. And one of the things that you were saying, Hazem, earlier on, the scenario with the iPhone, I had my daughter, she's 15, and at 11, she was like, we were like, she's old enough and mature enough to have a phone, and she was walking to and from school. So me and the mother decided we would get her a phone, and she was like, "Oh, I want an iPhone. I'd love an iPhone." And I was like, I was a little bit reluctant at first, but I got her one. But I didn't get her the latest one. Do you know what I mean? Get one a year old, a couple of years older, so she still feels that she's part of the clan. Do you know what I mean? So rather than spending £700 or £1,000 on the latest iPhone 13 or whatever, all I would say, if you've got somebody that's interested, as a friend like that, within the next 12 months, they're going to be buying the next one. So give them 50 quid for the one that they got rid of last year. Do you know what I mean? So I used to have a friend that was like that. Every time something brand new come out, he'd have to have it. And I said, well, what are you doing with that? Oh, I don't need it. You can have it. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, follow a fashion icon, but don't be a fashion icon. Do you know what I mean? But yeah, so there are ways around it, and a lot of it is peer pressure, but a lot of life lessons is we have to learn that there is peer pressure, and we don't have to bow to it, and we don't have to cow down to it. So you got to teach them how they deal with it. But it is hard, because as I say, teenagers, they want to be part of what they see on social media, etc., 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 but they don't realize that's only a snapshot of somebody's existence. And I think as a natural father, you've got to show them that the real values of what life is and who they are and what they're about and what is important in life and what's worth working for.
Yeah. And I remember, guys, when my kids were younger, when you go shopping in the supermarket, they always have, close to the cashier, they have this sweets, and just in the aisle of the kids, they want to have this, and then they start screaming, and most parents giving up because they are more interested in what the other people, what strangers think about them, and they want their kids to stop shouting or crying or screaming, and they buy the stuff. And what the kids learn is, okay, if you don't get it, scream up, and then they're just giving it. And I said, I'm interested more in my kids to educate them than what strangers think. And I remember there was a commercial years ago, and I don't remember, it was an insurance company or something like that. Anyway, and you saw this, on the women, or the mother was with this, I guess it was a girl, on waiting to pay, and the girl wanted something sweet, and she was lying down on the floor. This. And what mom did is she jumped on the floor down and was screaming too. And the girl looked up, what is going on, and stopped immediately. It was a nice commercial anyway. No, I guess yeah, I think we as a man, I think of course we should provide home, food, safety, protect them. But I think if it's an easy going because we're making easy money, yeah, why not more? But we shouldn't risk our own health, our own happiness, just to buy stuff that the kids absolutely don't need.
Well, I think, Marcin hit the nail on the head. You know what I mean? The fundamental thing is to be happy as a father, because then you can provide a lot more financially or unfinancially. Do you know what I mean? A happy home is a loved home. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah.
And you can't buy happiness, and I think that's where a lot of us are guilty. We go away and we think we'll buy a trinket and that will appease the time that we haven't. The only time those things really become important is when we're no longer on this mortal coil, and then they just have a shrine full of, oh, well, he got me this from here, and he got me that from there, and he got me that from the other. So there is that emotional attachment, but they would have preferred a more strengthier attachment, if that makes any sense. So,
gentlemen, I think it's a very good discussion, very emotional, but unfortunately we are coming to an end. We have to close up. But it was a really interesting. It was a really interesting conversation, and what I want to do is just for our producer backstage, 2 more minutes. I just want to have a short review of every one of you, because the last show this year for Christmas, a short tip what you have for other men outside. And I start with MARCIN. MARCIN, short tip for.
Yeah, thank you for the time to think about it. I really appreciate it.
Brilliant.
Oh my gosh, tip for the man. I don't know. I can share the tip that I want to fulfill myself. I think it will be more honest, because I do not feel in the position to tell any man anything about being a man. I can tell you about me. So for me, the tip is to just be a little bit more patient with myself, a little bit more kind for myself, and understand that some things needs just time, and that's it. And and also, if if you are in doubt about yourself, think about yourself 10 years ago and see what kind of a progress you already did, and just be proud.
Thank you, MARCIN. Scott.
All I'll say is that this time of year in particular, it can get stressful. Families can get stressful. If things are getting too much for you, take a breather, go for a walk. Don't bite. You know, there might be relatives there that you haven't spoke to for a while, and you have to hold that tongue in cheek. You don't have to. Just get away from the environment. Just make sure you're healthy, happy in your own mind. And if you need to speak to somebody, speak to somebody. And if you don't want to talk to somebody, you don't have to talk to him. Merry Christmas. Ho, ho, ho.
Thanks, Scott. Mounir, you want to add something?
Well, like MARCIN have said, it's this something I needed to give it to myself. You know, just give yourself a break. Things will come naturally, and it will all sort itself. But you don't have to be perfect all the time, because nobody is.
Thanks, Hazem. Thank you.
Yes, I would only want to say happy holidays, guys, and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year, and see you in January.
Thank you, Hazem. Yeah, my final statement for you guys out there is I wish you a Merry Christmas, a Happy New Year, and maybe you use this time to sit around with your family and have a conversation about what their expectation is about you as a man, as a role, and have a conversation about it, and listen to them, what they really expect from you, how you can fulfill your role as a man. I wish you all the best with your beloved one. Have a peaceful time, and first of all, find inner peace for yourself, reconnect with nature, recharge your batteries, and we see each other here on USA Global TV Radio, same time, same procedure, next year, January 4th. Thanks, guy. Hey, ho, ho, ho.
Next Lowin. Ho, ho, ho. Merry Christmas.
Oh, all the best. Bye.
We're coming to get you, man.